Former CNN anchor Don Lemon was arrested after a now infamous protest at a Minneapolis church for doing the crime of journalism. Basically, there was a church service in Minnesota that was disrupted by anti-ICE protesters because one of the leaders at the church was involved with ICE in a direct way. I don't know if he was literally a member of ICE or if he was doing contracting or something with them. I don't know the exact details, but this leader at the church was involved with ICE in a very direct way. So anti-ICE protesters went in and disrupted a church service. And Don Lemon, who was tipped off that the protest was going to happen, went to this protest and was documenting it, live streaming it, doing interviews with both protesters and churchgoers, asking tough questions to both sides, not there in any type of partisan or tribal manner. And yes, we all know Don Lemon is more liberal, more on the anti-Trump side of the spectrum. But if you look at any of his coverage from that event, even if he was there as part of the protest, I personally don't think that's grounds for being arrested. That's neither here nor there. I think there's more of an argument to be made because of the FACE Act that, maybe there's an argument that the protesters were technically breaking the law. But what Don Lemon was doing, literally just there recording, literally just there doing journalism, again, interviewing both sides, asking the protesters hard questions, asking the church members hard questions, but also letting you, see their side of the story as well. Like, he was doing great journalism, classic journalism. And for that crime of doing journalism, he has been arrested. And this is a very scary sign for where free speech is headed in the United States. It's already been decimated by the Trump administration and even a little bit the administrations before him. Even you go back to the Iraq War and see how people who were against the Iraq War were treated. You look back at anti-Israel protesters under Biden, but it's gotten a lot worse under Trump, even in terms of the anti-Israel protesters. They started deporting many of them or arresting many of them and really cracking down on colleges that these protests were happening on, basically blackmailing them into, suspending students, cracking down on students who were involved in those protests. You had the incident with Jimmy Kimmel where there was this very obvious top-down pressure from the White House, from the FCC, to kick him off the air, and then he was only brought back because of the groundswell of people canceling their Disney Plus subscription and protesting it. And you've just had this increasing crackdown on dissent under the Trump administration. It's not gone full authoritarian. You can still say fuck Trump in the States. It's not to the level of a fully authoritarian country where any type of criticism gets you put in jail or worse. But it is increasingly a landscape of fear, of trying to sow uncertainty and hesitation into anyone looking to exercise their free speech rights. And this latest action of arresting Don Lemon for doing journalism is one of the scariest so far, because without journalism, without a free press, that is the first step, or one of the first steps into going full authoritarian. It's been well documented the numerous ways in which the Trump administration has been acting in an authoritarian manner, whether it's disregarding court orders, whether it's unprecedented executive rule, whether it's these ICE crackdowns, sending the National Guard in against American citizens. It's been a very scary landscape for people's democratic freedoms. And this is just yet another example that is terrifying to witness. I'm not American, I'm Canadian, but looking south of the border, this is a very frightening story. Hopefully Don Lemon will beat these charges, but even the fact that they can just go and arrest him like this for, again, literally just doing journalism is a terrifying sign. This also comes the same day. This is a much less severe thing because this is a private company. But Hasan Piker faced another Twitch ban, which, look, I don't watch Hasan personally unless he's on, sometimes I watch him when he's like a guest on shows that I do watch. I have nothing against Hasan, but I'm not a particular huge Hasan fan or anything. And, Twitch streamers get banned all the time. So again, compared to the level of First Amendment and free speech threat of the Don Lemon arrest, I'm not trying to compare the two, but I do think what's interesting about this Hasan ban is that it primarily is due to his use of the term Zionist, which Twitch's community guidelines classify as prohibited hateful language. So for me, that's the scary part here. It's not the fact that Hasan was suspended, okay, he went to YouTube, but that's fine. It's not a huge deal that he's banned from Twitch in particular, but the fact that a platform like Twitch, which is so big, has a prohibition against using the term Zionist, which by all accounts is a descriptive ideological term. Okay, there are people who self-identify as Zionists. It has a very particular meaning. It means you believe that there should be a majority Jewish state of Israel in the area of Palestine, which, you know, someone like myself would point out by its very nature is a genocidal ideology, because to have a majority Jewish state in somewhere that has a majority Arab population, I mean, now it's more 50-50 because of years of colonialism, but, you know, at the time when Zionism emerged as an ideology, you know, to create a majority Jewish state in a majority Arabic Muslim area, that's going to involve apartheid, segregation, genocide, and that's what we've seen recently, but also over the course of the last 80 years. And to not be able to use a descriptive term, Zionism, just shows the power of the Zionist lobby, the Israel lobby, and not just the lobby in a political sense, but just the wider kind of cultural power that the Israeli supporters and also the Israelis themselves have in America with American politicians, but also companies. Because again, Twitch is a private company, so this isn't a matter of like First Amendment protection, but the fact that, you know, pro-Israel, pro-Zionist individuals and just powerful people have been able to make it so that platforms like Twitch are able to suspend people for using the term Zionist is absolutely insane. And just frankly, a scary sign of where we're at. But yeah, this Don Lemon thing really is frightening. And unfortunately, like I've said a lot lately with many of the events under the Trump administration, I see it getting worse before it gets better.